been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
What is up, guys? We are pumped today. We have Tyler Rausa from the XFL from Boise State, a place kicker, someone that we have been dying to talk to and get into head of because place kickers, they just don't get the justice what they do in the NFL, anywhere they kick. They're like the odd man out, and I think they're the most important person on the field. Tyler, how are you doing?
I'm great. Just quarantined here in Boise, Idaho right now. Trying to live my best life as much as I could here. But other than that, I'm healthy. I'm doing well and in good spirits.
Absolutely not. What do you do just to, get time to go past? Because I'm running out of ideas over here.
Luckily all of our golf courses are still open, so I'm able to go out and play golf. And I know a lot of the golf pros out here, so I've been fortunate enough to be able to play some free golf.
Oh, that's nice.
Other than that, I have been, I pretty much just work out, and then I play Madden at home, and, my girlfriend's about to kick me out of the house for how much Madden and video games I'm playing, but, we're having, as good as a time as we can, but golfing is definitely, my game has gotten a lot better since this quarantine. I'll say that.
If you ever want to play one-on-one on Madden, let me know.
I'm definitely in.
Well, we hope that you and your family are well. This is a tough time for all of us.
Absolutely.
My wife is a nurse.
Thank you guys as well.
My wife is a nurse, and I hear the horror stories every day about the CDC and the WHO and everything, and it's scary times right now. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll thank her for her service. She's kind of one of the modern-day superheroes going around right now, and that's huge.
Yeah. Well, before we even get in, because some just rang a bell in my head, you're from Boise State. How big is Kellen Moore in Boise State?
Oh, gosh. He might as well have a couple statues out here because he is the face of Boise State football, even though he is done with football here. He's done with his NFL career, but he will always be the guy.
Wow.
I don't know if there's ever going to be anybody else that comes in that does what he does, because he still has the record for the best record in NCAA history with 50-3. Just ridiculous numbers, but yeah, he is. That's crazy. The end-all, be-all here.
That's crazy to even think about. 50-3. Like, just think about that.
But you know what? That'll probably be a record that'll never be broke, because you don't see a lot of quarterbacks staying in school anymore. You really don't.
No, and it's only going to come from small schools or schools like Boise State. I think Boise State might be the next. Would have the guy who would do it next, but I don't know if you're ever going to see it again, because usually the guys who come close to it come out their junior year.
Now, what the heck got you into being a place kicker? Because that's not, you see kids out in the playground, they want to be the quarterback, they want to be the running back, they want to be receivers. What made you want to be a place kicker?
Yeah, it kind of came out of the blue. I was never really interested in football. I was kind of interested in every other sport but football. I was more baseball player than anything. I was very gung-ho on baseball, and did really well with it as well in high school. But, come high school time, my dad was a freshman football coach, and the thing about our high school is, a lot of he's built a reputation on having, almost 150 guys on the freshman football team. But it's not even about the freshman football team or even football. He just kind of helps establish you as a man going into high school. So, after every practice, there's always a certain kind of talk where, you're kind of just teaching you how to be a man, how to go home, treat your parents, do things right, how to treat others, and everything like that. So, he pushed me to play freshman football. And so with that, I was like, well, shoot, I don't want to just sit on the bench. How am I going to get on the field? Well, at the time, I was about 5'6", 150 pounds, 155 pounds. So the options were very slim for me. And so I was just like, you know what? I've always kicked the soccer ball well. I didn't play soccer a whole lot. I played pretty much every year growing up, just never really. I did like the rec leagues and all that, but I've, always had a bigger leg, and I had a couple friends that were a year, 2 years older than me. Watched them, really liked them, and I was just like, hey, let's try this. and it stuck quick.
Wow.
And it stuck really quick. And then from there, when did well my freshman year, sophomore year, went straight to varsity, and then I really kind of started to plug some puzzle pieces in, and from there just kind of took off. And that's really how it all started.
That's cool. Now I'm really curious as to what is a kicker's workout like? QBs, running backs, they have their drills. They hit the weight room really hard. But as far as a kicker, what goes into a workout as far as to how can I kick the ball farther? How do I work on my accuracy? Because I feel like it's a lot more than just going out there and just kicking the ball.
Well, first of all, how much do you have to stretch a day? That's got to be really important as a kicker, right?
I mean, it differs with every guy. I stretch a lot, almost not every day really. I just kind of do my own thing with it. But for me, it's always just been, I do a lot of Olympic lifts. I do a lot of jumps, a lot of jump ropes, a lot of quick, twitchy movements to where, because that's kind of one of the things with kicking is you don't want to be slow. You want to have the fast leg speed. So it's almost kind of like golf as well. When you have golf, you have, with the club head speed. Club head speed is kind of the same thing as your leg speed. You don't want to have super slow, but if you do, you want to have great contact all the time. So I've always been, into doing fast twitch muscle stuff to where I can get my leg, my hips, and everything like that twitching and exploding off the ball to where, I don't have to worry about power at any time. It's just I need to start dialing in accuracy, everything like that.
Yeah. Now, what would you recommend for someone who has skinny chicken legs like me that could get some leg muscle going? No, I'm just kidding. But no, that is really intriguing. I couldn't kick a ball 5 yards if I really wanted to. That was just not my position to go to.
Now, I was watching like some of your videos that are on there, like you were having like, I don't know if it was like a tryout or you were doing
almost like a pro day.
Yeah, it's like a pro day. Like before you do every kick, like you do this like kind of shimulate. It's almost like you're digging your feet in before you do your motion. Are you superstitious or anything? Is that something that you do on every kick?
I mean, the thing with, again, it's a lot like golf as well. You want to have a routine. And with your routine comes kind of a similarity, and there's more focus, and you don't have to worry about any outside elements. So with that, when I get to that spot where it almost seems like I'm digging in, what I'm doing is I'm kind of digging in my toe. So I already wear a full-size, smaller cleat than when I wear a regular shoe. So then at that point, what I'm doing is when I get to that spot, I'm even digging my toe even further into my shoe and kind of get my plant foot ready, and it's just the routine that I go to. And then from there, I know that with that, I know to point my toe at contact when I'm going, because sometimes I kind of flex my foot up a little bit and the ball comes off a little weird. But but it's a lot like golf as well. You want to have the same motion, the same routine, the same steps every single time to where you are going to have consistent ball contact every time you go. And, it lessens the area of failure because it's, golf, kicking, all that, it is a game of failure, unfortunately, but it's how you manage it to where you can swing it to your positive and to your basically advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when the NFL changed the dimensions of the field goal post, did that also affect college also, or did college, when you played at Boise State, did they keep the regular sizes with that?
Say that one more time.
When the NFL, when they changed the dimensions of the field goal post, because they made them a little smaller as far as length, did college follow that rule, or did they just keep them the same?
So, yeah, college and NFL have been, they've been the same for a while. But both college and NFL, they're both the same. That's, for me, I always try to get to college fields because obviously you can't kick on NFL fields, but a lot of guys try to get to college fields because the uprights match the NFL.
Oh, okay. Now, did you have a lot of schools recruiting you out of high school?
No, not out of high school. I had more baseball. I had actually all baseball offers and none football. and I almost took a baseball offer, decided not to, and then went to a junior college. And then from junior college is where I got my Boise State offer, and then like 2 days after Boise State was where I had, like a dozen schools come offer me that I didn't really give a day and time to, because Boise State was kind of true through the whole process.
Now, what made you want to pursue football? Why didn't you want to stick with baseball if you were getting more offers at baseball?
Because with the baseball offers, it's hard to get even a full ride scholarship.
Yeah.
So I was getting like 40-50% scholarships for baseball. And at the time, I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old. And, I loved it, everything like that, but I had a weird itch for football. I had a weird itch just to kick a ball. As weird as it is, you have that feeling where it's just like, I feel like my path should go this way.
Yeah.
And I don't have any regrets about it at all.
Yeah, I bet.
And,
Just curious, what position did you play?
I was third and second.
Okay, there you go. You have a favorite team?
Yeah. I've been longtime Cardinals and Dodgers fan.
Okay, you got two teams.
We're Yankee fans
Oh,
over
yeah.
here.
There you go. Yeah, I never had any resentment against the Yankees at all. I love the game of baseball. Obviously, love to watch it. But yeah, no, I always loved it growing up.
Now, 2015 at Boise State, you had a great year. You led the Mountain Western Conference with 25 field goals in a season. You had the most points for a kicker in a single season. How was it kicking at that blue stadium, that turf, and just with that whole atmosphere?
Oh, I loved it. I still love it. Being out here in Boise still, I'm still fortunate enough to kick on it when it is open and go through the process. But I absolutely loved it. I wouldn't change my time for anything. The blue turf, it's a special place to be. And when you're around it, when you're in the program, and you're just surrounded by it, there's a reason why it's there. It's not just there for looks. It's there to create a camaraderie throughout the team, throughout the program, that when you're on this blue field, you don't lose.
Yeah.
And if you look at our home record, I think we're, since we became D1, I believe it was in like 1995 or 99, we have the best home win percentage in the nation. And, again, it just attributes to the culture that was built around the blue turf. And it's more than just a blue field. There's just traditions that come with it, and you have to uphold those traditions.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, as a kicker, like in a good day of practice, the weather's fine, there's no wind. You basically just go up there, and I don't want to say just basically because there's a lot to it. But how do you adjust?
Yeah.
If you're in practice and the weather's fine and you get the game day and you have 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds and it's raining and it's snowing, what do you aim for? Because every kick's going to be basically different because of the way the wind's blowing or whatever.
Yeah, you just have to adjust, and that's what pregame is for. So pregame, you basically have an hour to, figure out your stroke, figure out your aiming points, and figure out how you're going to go about it. And you have your warm-up off the sticks, and then you have practice live half snap hole kicks with your guys, and you go from there. And usually I have a slight, if there is no wind, no nothing, if I'm indoors, I have a slight draw from right to left. So if I get outside and I have, a stronger or very strong right to left wind, I'm not even, most of the time I'm pretty much going to aim at, the right pole. I'm not even going to aim down the middle, because if I aim down the middle, it's going to overdraw and it's probably going to miss left. So I want to aim right at the right pole, play, it's going to be more of a significant draw, and it's, I'm going to hook it in. Whether it looks pretty or not, it doesn't really matter, because 3 points is 3 points on the
as long
scoreboard.
as it gets in there.
Exactly. And then vice versa, if it's going left to right, I'm not going to play it as much because of my draw, so most of the time it's just going to go dead straight. So there I can aim down the middle, or if it's even a little more than what I'm uncomfortable with, going left to right, then I'll aim, left middle. I'll find points where I want to aim at in the stands. Or sometimes if there's even stadiums that you come across where, you look behind the field goal and you're kind of looking into an abyss, like there is like nothing behind it. feel like the stands either keep going forever or you're just looking into the sky. I just look at the crossbar at that point because it's the closest thing to my eyes. It seems closer than kind of what it is, just because it's almost eye level, and I just go off of that.
Now, can it become like mental after a while? Like Brett Maher, who was with the Cowboys, I mean, he was from 50 yards back, he was amazing. I mean, the guy didn't miss.
Yeah.
But from 50 in, it seemed like he always pushed everything towards the right post, and it seemed like he started to struggle with that. Does that become mental to the point where you're trying to overcorrect?
Definitely. I mean, I've always said the kicking game is 30% skill, 70% mental. Because you come across some guys who, you know, if you kick off the sticks, it's like having home run derby. I mean, you got like some guys that with no wind inside of a stadium, they can go all the way back to 70. And, you know, come snap hold kick in a game, there's just that mental side that some people just don't have it. And with Brett in college, you know, Brett did really well in college at Nebraska, was very solid, had his first year with the Cowboys was really good. You know, he kind of just had a weird little rut where, you know, especially inside of like 35 yards, I believe, for him, it was just kind of one of those things where, you know, whether some guys just kind of mentally take it off like it's a gimme and stuff like that happens, or, you know, there's just some areas of the field where guys get a little more uncomfortable than, you know, other parts of the field. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you don't know what's going through their mind, if anything's even going through their mind. It's just something that different guys have to get over.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, you know, obviously with the pregame, you know, like you said, 70 yards is like nothing. There's nobody in front of you. But when you get in the game and you got guys that are desperately trying to block the ball, can that become a mental distraction for some guys where they lose focus and they don't kick well?
Oh yeah, huge. And you know, you come across some of the most freakish athletes in the world that are coming to, you know, block a kick / kill you. And you know, you have to get a snap, hold, and kick off pretty much under 1.3. So 1.3 seconds is kind of the slowest you can go before you're in the real danger zone. And if you think about that on the stopwatch, that's really fast.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's one of those things where you have to prepare yourself mentally, see it, everything like that up until that point.
Yeah, almost like block them out. And you have to have some good trust in your placeholder too. I mean, you probably do lots of reps with them, but having trust that they're going to get that ball down, they're not going to drop it, and they're going to have that ball placed exactly the way you like it.
But that's probably the most important thing fans don't. I don't think fans realize that, and myself included. You know, it's not just the kicker. It's the snapper, it's the holder, and it's the kicker. It's like a motion. It's like a ballet. And if one thing goes wrong, it throws off everything.
Yeah, and you have to have trust in every single one. But every single one also has a job. For the snapper has to figure out, you know, at what point when he's holding the ball and he, you know, snaps it, flicks it to the holder, how many rotations can he get it to where he gets the laces out every single time?
Now, why don't you want to kick those laces? I always was
because when you kick the laces, it's almost kind of like a knuckleball when you're pitching with baseball.
Gotcha.
You know, even though Tim Wakefield is the best in the game, sometimes he had no idea where that thing was going. And that's why even the catcher couldn't pinpoint it, because he didn't know where it's going. Same thing with football. Sometimes you just don't know where that thing is going. Now, you can get lucky and it can go exactly how you want it. You can get unlucky and it just flutters some sort of way that you've never seen before. But with the laces, that's, if you ever seen a professional football game, the laces are back. Yeah. That is the snapper's fault. And because the snapper, one of his jobs is to figure out how many rotations he can get it the way he's holding to where it lands and where the holder catches it, and the laces go in the front. And then from there, the holder's job is, one, he has to mark the kicker's spot. You know, he can't miss that spot on the ground. If he misses that spot even by an inch, 2 inch, something like that, that's where you also kind of have the weird misses, the weird hooks, fade, kind of an unorthodox looking ball because maybe the holder missed the spot, something like that. He didn't tilt it right. Most righty kickers like it a little more kind of tilted at 1 o'clock, I would say, on the clock. And, for some like it a little facing forward, some like it tilted backwards. It just depends on which guy it is, and then from there the kicker takes over.
That's cool. See, I never knew that. That's pretty cool.
Now, how long?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I said there's just a lot. There's a lot of insight to it.
Now, how much time in practice do the three of yous work together?
Pretty much the whole practice. I mean, there's different days where sometimes the kicker doesn't even kick, but we'll go through different snap holding kick routines. There's days where the punter doesn't even punt, but they'll go through different steps of punting. I mean, there's just something every day that, the unit has to work on and just be able to gel and work as one to be one basically cohesive unit to where, you're getting the most consistent unit on the field.
All right, now I'm gonna ramble a couple questions quick because this is educational for us. Toughest
Yeah.
place you ever kicked at, worst weather you ever kicked in, and how much does the weather, as far as the temperature, whether it's hot or cold, affect the ball as for the kicker especially?
So the toughest place I've ever kicked at, that might be at Audi Field for our home field in DC. DC is a little bit of a windier area, and that soccer field was kind of laid where it was laid out right off of the canal river that they had right there. I mean, we kind of had a swirling wind going, and going towards the opposite way of the scoreboard, it was a swirling wind that was right on top of that upright, and it just didn't matter what you felt. It always seemed like it was going the opposite way, and I believe every team we played against missed on that side of the field. The other way, it seemed just fine. It just the wind went one way, but just that one side, it was the trickiest side that I probably have ever kicked at. And I feel like I had most of my field goals on that side too. But the Audi field was probably one of the more challenging fields I've kicked at. The next one was worst weather, you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
The worst weather was probably Laramie, Wyoming. We go in, it was kind of windy / flurrying, the whole game. And we get to, for the first half, and then we get to the second half, and then it was just like, all right, that was just a warm-up. Here comes the blizzard. And we had like 20-mile-an-hour winds. We got within 2 quarters, we had, I think they said we had like 2 inches, 3 inches of snow.
I wouldn't even want to kick.
It was chaos. I mean, it was just coming down.
That's terrible,
and
man.
Actually, that was actually where I got my first start that game.
Oh, great.
And, of course, it had to be in the worst weather ever. So, one of the PATs, I go up, and I look up at the field goal, and my face gets covered with snow. And I was like, okay. I'm just kicking it straight. Like, I'm not even going to know where I'm going. I'm just kicking it straight. And, yeah.
That's
that
crazy.
Was definitely the
That's
worst.
crazy. They can't even.
And then what was your third question again?
Oh, as far as temperature, does the heat and the cold, does it affect, does it make the ball harder or anything when it's colder?
Oh, yeah. So the worst, probably the worst heat game I played in was our first game in 2016 going to Louisiana Lafayette, and that was absolutely miserable. It was
hot,
just regular outside. It was like 110 and 100% humidity.
Wow.
We get onto the field, and it was like, I think they had the field marked at like 122, and guys' cleats are melting. It was guys were getting like rug burns and stuff from just laying on the turf after they tackled somebody. guys are overheating. I mean, I think at one point the stadium was actually like very close to selling out, and by the second half, I swear there was about 2,000 people in the stands, and they reported like over 100 people like fainted and needed to like be taken away.
God.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
it was that bad, but it was. I mean, shoot, I think we won by 40 still, but it was still just the worst heat game ever. And then the coldest game I've ever been in was we had a home game against San Diego State, and we knew it was going to be cold, but it was the coldest night of the week. It got down. We started the game at about 4 degrees.
Wow.
And yeah, by the fourth quarter, there was a little bit of a breeze that picked up, and I think the wind chill brought it to about -5 or something.
Wow. Like kicking a
And
rock.
it was miserable. I mean, there was no way. I mean, you've seen a couple of my kicks from the XFL going from 55 and all that. I don't think I could have reached beyond 45 that game.
Now
The balls were rock hard.
That's gotta suck for you, because as a kicker, you're standing on the sideline a lot. I mean, I know you could probably get your body warm and everything, but like just sitting there, your legs gotta go cold quick.
Oh yeah, and that's where hopefully the team, whatever team you're with, they have either like warmers or they give you parkas and all that. With Boise State, we had one heater, and we kind of designated the guys who were kind of going in, or like more important guys. So, and then we couldn't wear parkas or anything because we're kind of, that blue collar type thing kind of sets in. So we kind of had to be mentally tough for what was going on. But yeah, I was freezing. I was absolutely freezing that game. I was freezing the whole game. Once the fourth quarter game, and I was almost more excited just to be in like a warm shower than anything.
Well, now you just heard this here. Now the three of us, we're gonna patent this. We're gonna come up with an air cast that goes all the way up a kicker's leg to the inner part of his thigh, and it's gonna pump like hot air into it.
Come up with an invention.
We should invent
I
that.
mean, you need that for just the whole sweat, like some sort of like sweatsuit that could do that. I would love that.
Where you could pop it off real quick, but imagine if we could patent something like that. We would be sitting here talking about how rich we are.
Yeah, no, like something like a tearaway or something like that, where in the moment it could even be like almost kind of like a sleeping bag type. Like film on the outside, and then I'm all in for it.
That just sounds terrible, man. I hate the cold, man. I could not imagine playing. And I know a lot of the guys too, whether it's college or NFL, they don't wear long sleeves. They'll play it tough, and they'll wear the short sleeves, and it's just like not me.
No, Tyler, when you go ahead.
I would say when I pretty much because most of the time I don't wear sleeves. So I kind of draw the line when it gets under 30 degrees, I'll actually put sleeves on. Because anything kind of above 30, it's not too bad. But anything under 30 minutes, that's where it starts to sting.
Yeah, I bet.
Now, when you go out for a field goal, whether it's just a regular field goal or you go out for an extra point, do you treat each kick the same? Do you put the same amount of effort into it?
Yeah, 100%. That's what you have to do. Just because if you don't, that's where kind of you'll find some inconsistency with different guys, because your body may not be familiar with if you're trying to baby one, and maybe you say you have like 5 or 6 consecutive kicks where you're babying it, and then all of a sudden you go out for 45, 50 yards and you're trying to hit it to the moon. Well, you haven't hit that kick in a while, especially in a game, and you hit a ball that unfortunately you don't like. What don't you like about it? Well, you're not hitting the same ball every time. You're not, you're trying to do something that your body is unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And that's where you try to replicate the same rep every single time, no matter the distance.
That's good.
Now, when you get to a distance that's beyond 55, where, your percentages are way down, or even beyond 60, that's where you're kind of you're sitting dead red, and you're trying to send this thing to the moon. You're trying to just get your best hit possible, because you're beyond 60, you're saying you're not really supposed to, people don't really expect you to make that anyways, but they expect you to give it a good run. That's what I'm saying. You're seeing dead red, it's coming. You just got to hit your best ball. That's where you just go all out. It's almost kind of like, how far can I hit it? How far can I kick it right here?
Now, if you're further back, like you're going for that 55-yarder, do you adjust where you kick do you adjust where you kick the ball from? Like, do you always aim for a certain spot, or do you make adjustments on where you kick it?
It's kind of different with different guys. Some treat it different. Like for me, I've always aimed a little more right center because if I have that draw, I don't want it to draw too much from that far away. So I've always aimed right center or even a little more, just depending on what the weather is. And then I'll take slightly bigger steps. I mean, slightly, because I'll get excited with, how far we are and just seeing how far I can kick it and put it in. So, naturally I'll just have bigger steps. But other than that, everything pretty much stays the same.
Now you obviously kicker for the XFL DC Defenders.
I was just going to ask him.
We actually just had Jameer Thurman on, who was the middle linebacker. It was a great interview we had.
Great interview.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, first
Great
of all,
teammate.
how did you enjoy the XFL? We've always talked about it's nice to have a minor league system with the whole NFL.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the new rule changes, but just your thoughts personally, how did you like it?
Especially on the kickoffs, how did you like that?
I mean, I personally really liked the XFL. I thought it was very well run, very professional with how they went about day in and day out activities. I had a very good experience with it. And, obviously, still very sad that it has to go, for circumstances that are beyond our control. And, that's kind of the hardest part. But with the kickoffs and everything, I mean, I didn't do the kickoffs for our team. Our punter did. He was the first signed between the two of us. He went through training camp with them. I got signed on right before the season. And so he just continued just to do the kickoffs. And I thought they were a very good pace of play. For the game, for the fans and everything like that, I thought it was the right thing.
I
thought it was something that, something very different, something very exciting, something you just don't see in it. And it looks odd on the screen because you don't see it. And that's what made it fun. As far for a kicker standpoint, I didn't really care for it because there's not a whole lot that we can do. It was just basically a service kit. Do I put it right or do I put it left or do I put it just over the 20? There was almost not really an upside for us. It was just kind of, we just put it in an area.
Oh, that's right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you hit some pretty big field goals too. What'd you hit? A 52, a 50, and a 55.
How far do you think that 55 would have went? Would you think it would have made 60?
Yeah, I think that one would have probably been, I think it might have topped out at 62. These balls, the XFL balls that they had us kicking were very different than what the NFL balls were. And they did not fly nearly as close to what NFL balls fly.
That's crazy
So
too, because you had some big ones.
Yeah. Yeah, so they were a little skinnier. The fabric was different. It was different kind of leather, and then they weighted the tips as well to the ball, to where basically quarterbacks, you see more spirals, end over end type throws, and so that also didn't help for kicking standpoint because those tips are going to be, one, they're going to spin more, and then two, it's just going to weight it down a little bit. So yeah, I would probably say about 62, but it was
Wow.
Was it?
there were some difficult balls.
Was it a no doubter? As soon as you hit it, you knew it.
Oh yeah, as soon as I hit it, it was just one of those things where I was just watching it from there, just because you always love to see it go through the upright.
And now with those kicks that you had, a 55, a 52, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but have you had any calls from any NFL teams? Because those are some big kicks.
I mean, there's been interest, but as of right now, nobody's really kind of pulled the trigger, and nobody's pulled the trigger on after the draft on any XFL guys, which has kind of been odd.
Well, I guess also you can't really work out a lot of these guys too, which kind of suck. I mean, you have film, which is nice, but with the whole COVID thing, you can't really get in there and evaluate a guy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's been kind of weird. And there's some guys on our team, like Jameer, especially, I thought would have been one of the first guys taken.
That's what we said.
Yeah, and cause just the way he was. Probably our second best defensive player behind Raheem, but Raheem had the best overall defensive grade in the XFL. And so, yeah, I've kind of been at a loss for words with XFL guys not going to the NFL just because of the success that was given with it. It's kind of been beyond me, but we'll work once kind of these restrictions kind of start being taken off a little more, some travel bans, everything like that.
Absolutely.
We'll get back to it, and hopefully they start bringing us in for workouts and seeing us in person. But they have professional film. There's about 2 other guys, Taylor Russolino and Matt McCrane, who I'm really good friends with. The 3 of us were, the 3 best in the XFL, not taken. It's been kind of weird, but, right now you just kind of take things with a grain of salt. You take it with a chip on your shoulder. You keep working day in and day out and just keep going towards your dream.
Yeah, we're rooting for you.
Let me ask you this. Why do you feel like kickers don't get the recognition that they deserve? I mean, you guys have the hardest job. I mean, you miss one kick and people want to throw death threats at you. A quarterback can throw 10 straight incompletions and he's honored. And even in the draft, I mean, you haven't seen a kicker go before the 3rd round. I mean, there's only 3 kickers since 2000 that went before the 3rd round, and Janikowski is the only one to go in the 1st. Why? I mean, it's a very important position.
Very. But what comes with that is, one, you have 32 jobs in the NFL, okay? And most of the time, you're going to have 20 to 25 of those teams have guys who are solid, who don't need to be replaced, everything like that, and they're going to be there for at least 3 years, maybe more. So that at that time, you have a buildup of kickers who are trying to get in this NFL, and you have, a huge demand of guys just trying to get in. So with that, teams can kind of do as they want, as they please. They don't need to take a kicker right now because they know in the back of their head they probably have 10 different guys that they can choose from that they can get for cheaper. And it's just one of those things where if there wasn't such a low demand for kickers and with so many people wanting to be a professional NFL kicker, it probably would be respected more, but there's only one position. And most of the time they don't have somebody on the practice squad or they don't have somebody even on the roster that backs them up. It's just the punter. So they can kind of just leave that for in the very back of their mind until, 6th, 7th round or even free agency where they still know they have 5, 6 different options.
Yeah.
Who are your 3 favorite kickers that you ever watched in the NFL or anything?
Well, obviously Vinatieri was one.
Oh, yeah.
Being the greatest of all time. 2 would be Justin Tucker. He's unbelievable. He's, obviously the best in the NFL. I think could soon be best ever because the guy is just unbelievable. And then 3rd,
Will
there's
Lutz.
kind of a couple that go with that 3rd spot. I've always liked Greg Zerloin. The guy can just smash a ball. I liked kind of some old Steelers kickers. I was a Steelers fan growing up, so like the Jeff Reed, liked them growing up. Jeff Reed is a super consistent guy. There's a bunch for that 3rd spot, but those are definitely my top 2.
Yeah, like Will Lutz.
All right, so of those 3, even though you didn't name a 3rd one, you have to start one, you have to bench one, and you have to cut one.
So I'll just cut all of my 3rd guys. I will, between those 2, if we're going to go...
I think you start Tucker.
In their prime, if we're going to go in their prime for both of them, I think I'm going to go... Gosh, that's a very hard one just because you can compare those 2 so well.
Pick wisely. Pick wisely. 4th quarter's on the line here.
I know.
Well, what's crazy? Tucker's got a 90% field goal percent rating over his career. I think he's only missed one extra point in his life.
And it was against the Saints to win the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think he's only missed maybe 1 game-winning field goal, maybe 2. I think it's only been 1, though. Whereas Vinatieri, he has the game-winning in the Super Bowls. He's got the game winners in playoffs. He's got the game winner in the snow. He's The guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's tough decision.
Gosh, that's such a hard one to go between. I'll probably start Tucker and have to bench Vinatieri.
It's a good choice.
Well, before we let you go, and we appreciate your time. I know we've been babbling your ear off for a while now, but
No, you're good. I like it. It's been fun.
Who's your favorite NFL team, and what did you think of the draft?
Well, my favorite NFL team growing up was the Steelers. Loved the Steelers, loved Bill Cowher. I was kind of a little fat kid growing up, and you didn't see a whole lot of fat guys in the NFL besides offensive linemen. So I was always a Jerome Bettis fan, and he was a Steeler. So I was always Jerome Bettis. And as of now, I don't really have a favorite team because I will play for any one of the teams. So there's not really one team that I favor. I've always had loyalty for the Steelers, but I think the Steelers, they had an okay draft. It wasn't anything that they went above and beyond for. I thought they were going to get a quarterback. Did they get a quarterback?
I don't believe they did yet.
No.
I don't think they did. I thought they were going to maybe pull off something and get one.
Maybe they still like Rudolph. I don't know.
I thought Dallas did a great job with their draft. I thought the Packers had the worst draft they've probably had in a while.
What were you thinking taking Love right away? I'm shocked.
Or trading up for Love, who probably would have been there in the third round.
And what's funny is, Love comes out of the Mountain West, so I've seen a lot of him, and I personally wasn't impressed, and I didn't even think he was going to be like a top-rated guy, but what do I know? That surprised me. That surprised me that they did that, just because I think Aaron Rodgers still has probably another 5-6 years left.
He's got 4
And by that
guaranteed with
time-
Green Bay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kind of confuses me because in 5 years you're going to have a Jordan Love are you going to keep him for that long? Because he's just not going to play. He's going to lose some game reps. He's going to lose that game-like feel, and it's not going to be the same. So I didn't get that at all.
I got to tell you what, as a Cowboys fan, though, I was shocked. I was watching it with my son, and then he went downstairs. We're texting him back and forth. And believe me, it's hard being a Cowboys fan with your other son because he's a Cowboys fan, and we fight over Dak Prescott all the time. But when the Raiders took Ruggs instead of CeeDee Lamb
or Judy,
I was like, oh, my God, this is a possibility. And then Atlanta didn't go receiver. I was like, here we go. And I even put on Twitter, the Cowboys are going to let me down. We're going to do another TJ Watt incident. We're going to take Chase on over CeeDee Lamb. We were all shocked.
Yeah.
That was a good pickup.
They had a really good draft. And actually, I've always kind of favored the Cowboys more than most NFL teams because most of their defense is NFL areas, Boise State guys.
Saints are better.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyron Crawford, Leighton Vander Esch, all those are Boise State guys.
State.
So, there's more on that team than usual, and I've always enjoyed watching them. Tried to even play for them, but we'll see what happens.
Well,
I just want to say the Saints are better.
Yeah, he's a Saints fan. The thing that really shocked me though is they were planning on taking Diggs at 17, but when CD fell, they got CD there, and then
they got Diggs.
Then Diggs fell to them there. I was like, oh my God! I mean, they just lucked out.
They kind of just had things going in their way.
And this is the first year since we got rid of Rob Marinelli that the Cowboys actually have big fat boys in the middle. So we have 3 awesome defensive tackles now. And it seems like the whole regime has changed, and now they're going for best player available and not for need.
Yeah.
And they filled all of their holes, the cornerback, the center. I mean, this was probably the best draft. I'm usually cussing the Cowboys out by this time. And I am just absolutely floored by how – and like I said before we came on, when you have Eagles fans saying the Dallas Cowboys had an awesome draft, you hit someone there.
Oh, yeah, especially with the draft
Oh,
they had.
definitely. But I liked the Eagles taking Jalen Hurts.
Really?
I really like him.
So do I but
think he's a
second
guy.
round, man. You probably could have got him in the 4th round.
I think he would have been taken in the second by somebody.
Probably New England.
Yeah, I think he would have fit in with New England. I just like Jalen Hurts because he knows how to win. He's a good character guy.
Good quarterback.
He just knows how to go out there and he just knows how to win, and that's what you want in a guy. And he's
Absolutely.
somebody that you can build a whole program around.
But you know what's weird? No one even gave him. They didn't even give him a chance to get drafted until late.
30 touchdowns, almost 4,000 pass yards.
Yeah,
I don't get why
yeah.
this guy wasn't even talked about.
I don't even know why. I didn't like Tua going before him, to be honest with you.
I did.
I thought Tua was going to be like a second-round guy because I always thought about it that Tua, one, he's on the best team in college football for all 4 years. Two, he has first-round wide receivers all around him all 4 years. He doesn't have to do anything. He just basically has to almost throw it to a spot. I mean, in some of those games where it got super competitive, it kind of showed, his true colors with some things. But I didn't like him going in the first round.
Yeah. Well, hey Tyler, we appreciate your time. I mean, this was an absolute blast. You answered a lot of our questions, and
yeah, no problem.
Hey, we wish nothing but the best for you. And
Hope that phone rings.
Yeah. We had Colin Thompson on a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and he got picked up by the Carolina Panthers. So maybe we're a good luck charm. And
yeah, maybe you are. Maybe that's what I needed, like just to be on here. And hopefully, you guys bring me that luck.
But hey, quick question: if something doesn't happen with the NFL, are you looking at the Canadian League or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some calls from Canada that have come through that obviously you take seriously, but we'll come the time where we have to really get serious about it, we'll assess it then. But no decisions are made right now.
Okay. Again, like I said, thank you. We really, really appreciate it. This will be up on all the platforms if you want to check it out. If you want to give us a like on Twitter or give us a follow on Twitter, you can. Really appreciate you, man. And we would love to have you on again. And we can shoot the crap about any sports. I mean, we love talking. We love talking sports.
Yeah. No, definitely. Just let me know. We'd love to. Had a great time with you guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
All right, Tyler.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
You have a great night.
Yeah, it was an awesome interview.
It was, and those are the best ones, when you could just sit back and you could feel he's comfortable, and just it's interesting to learn from these players. I mean, I always thought about kickers just go out there, kick the ball, and now
I never knew anything about the whole laces. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to learn.
But I absolutely loved it. This was a great podcast.
Yeah.
And Tyler, again, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. We are videotaping again. We've been steadily videotaping. We did do it the last time. But this will be up on all platforms, like we just said: IHeart Radio, Google Podcasts, Google Music, Apple Podcasts. YouTube will be always a day after, just because it takes a little bit longer to edit. But we hope you guys like this. Share it, post it, comment it, like it, subscribe it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.